Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Claudia and this is Katie Counseling. Welcome back. Today we will be talking about imposter syndrome. I've been wanting to make this video, and now that I'm graduated, I feel that I'm able to explain this a little bit better. I guess with the year of experience and all the years of school and whatnot. So let's get into it. Before I start though, Katie Counseling over on Instagram, DM me, follow me there. If you guys have any comments that could help others, comment down below so we can start conversation. If you would like to donate to my channel, press the super thanks. I am very grateful for every donation. All right, let's get started. So, imposter syndrome, right? I'll give it to you guys from two different angles. From the angle where I'm at now, and from the angle where I was at when I started internship, right? When you go and apply to go into internship and to work with clients, most of the time you're kind of running on adrenaline, and you're able to be like, oh, I got this, I know all these things, and you do to a certain extent obviously know what you're doing, but just a little, and I'm telling you guys from my experience, you do get humbled in the field, right? In a positive, respectful way. Like when you go and work with clients and you realize, you know, when you're working with other clinicians that have been doing it for a long time, this explanation was given to me at one point, and it really made sense, right? So when you're done with doing internship for about a year, you're like a teenager. So like you think you know everything, you're ready, you know, but you're really not there yet, and that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be, right? But the imposter syndrome, you know, and when people say things like this to you, sometimes you're like, oh dang, I had like this high hope and this high like a view of myself. But there's times where you do have to really listen to what others say to you, and where sometimes you'll feel kind of smaller. I don't know how to explain this without sounding a little upfront about it. Yeah. Most people, when they hear imposter syndrome, it's like, you know, you're sitting there in front of your client and you're like going like, oh my God, who am I to sit here and tell this person about their life? Oh my God, like I'm screaming, I don't know what to say. Or like the client will be talking, and then the whole time in my head I'm like, I have nothing for you. Nope, no idea. I don't know what to say, right? So you'll have different types of imposter syndrome, thinking like, who put me in this chair? Who allowed this? Why is this happening? But at the end of the day, you need all those experiences, and you need your like mind and your whole body to remember those experiences so you can come back next time and be whole, right? To be ready and be like, oh yeah, last time my little internal dialogue, if you guys have one, it was like, oh my God, what am I going to say to this person? And this is when the skills come in, right? Even if you're impostering to the max and you're like, what am I doing here? What am I going to say to this person? Just lean back onto your skills. Sit in silence. If you have nothing to say, literally sit there. I've sat there before and just stared at the person, and it was awkward. It was impostery, but they're there to get help, so they can say something, right? And this doesn't always work. Obviously, you would not want to get stuck like that, but it comes up, and the anxiety starts fluttering, and the thoughts start coming up, and you're clammy, and you're like looking at the clock. You're like, oh my God, can this be over with yet? But I'm not saying this is with everybody. Okay, some people might go in and be fine. I'm talking to you guys that you're like kind of stressing about this, or you're overthinkers, perfectionists that want everything to go perfect. It's gonna go perfect, but you're gonna have to go through your learning hurdles, right? One of the sessions that I had to do was with a client that was around my age, and my supervisor wanted to be in the room because this was like super early on, and it was just so awkward because at the end of the day, and it wasn't awkward for me and the client, it was just awkward because we couldn't have like the conversation that I felt like I would have if this other person wasn't in the room. And this is to like highlight, look, I've worked with ages 18 to 85, okay? It doesn't matter for me. An issue is an issue is an issue, right? I worked in substance abuse and addiction. The same pathology applies to the 18-year-old that applies to the 80-year-old, right? Same thing, doesn't matter. Male, female, whatever category, same thing. But there's something to be said about working with somebody my own age or somebody in their age range. There's something about it where, in my opinion, we kind of get each other because we kind of grew up in the same time, and there's certain things that, you know, you can be a little more comfortable with them, with certain people. But that's why you see a lot of therapists niche down, and they're like, okay, I work with 18 to 28 or whatever, and that's their niche, or they work with teens, or they work with kids, or they work with elderly people. Like, it is what it is. But, you know, so I remember sitting there and I'm like, okay, so everything good? How's everything with XYZ and this, you know? So, and then afterward, when I would have my own sessions with my own clients, you can put your own personality into it. It doesn't have to be a sterile, how did that make you feel today? And actually, you're not allowed to say that. It's, how did you feel about that? Remember that. Nothing can make you feel, you make yourself feel. But I just remember sitting in the sessions where it was like, I could just sit there and listen to my client, and we would have a good discussion and a nice little session, and we could laugh, and I could just be myself and have my Stanley cup and drink my water and chill. It's so different, right? When you don't have somebody like right here, like listening to everything, on top of doing all the recordings that we had to do for internship, that are very, very helpful. But yeah, it's different. So I'm telling you guys, when you get into doing your own sessions, that imposter syndrome kind of goes away, I would say, after a couple of sessions, because you got your own office, it's your own space, you can control the space. Most of the time you've built rapport with the client, they know you, they like you, they know what you're all about, and it's fine, it works out. But don't get too stuck in that. It might be awkward a couple of times, it might be a little like panicky, like, oh my god, what am I gonna say? Don't worry about it. You know, have a couple of things you can resort to talk about, or my favorite one is, what do you want to accomplish in this session? So if it's not really going anywhere, ask them, like, okay, what did you come here today to do? Like, what do you want to work on? What kind of things would you like to work on throughout the week? You know, resort to the homework. Or if they're talking, or if they're upset, or if you see something's happening, point it out and be like, I see that you're shaking your leg. What's that all about? Are you doing all right today? Did something happen? Or are you thinking about something? And just, you know, try to see what you can get. At the end of the day, what they always said to me is, the client is their own expert at their own life. We are there just to walk with them, be there on their journey. So don't ever think that you have to sit there and figure it out. You know, maybe sometimes what the client needs is to just sit there, and if it's awkward to you, it might not be awkward to the client. It might be exactly what they need. So learn to get comfortable with what they need, not with what your needs are, right? So I will wrap up with that, and I hope this video was helpful to you. From my cringy moments, I like to share them to yours. I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys. Also, tell me what kind of videos you guys want to see. I actually want those comments. What kind of videos do you guys want to see? All right, peace.